Hey everyone, welcome back to day 30 of my journey to financial freedom through trading small caps. Today was a small green day, as you could see right here. Pretty decent day. I'd say it was a B grade. I had some slight sizing errors, but did a great job reading the time and sales, which was my goal coming into the day. Was to focus on level 2 and time and sales and stick to high quality, mark levels, and take break of pivots. So that was my pre-market plan. I did that pretty darn well, so I'm pretty happy with kind of how I was executing. It's just sizing and um, whatever. That is less of a concern than actually taking the setup. So glad I was taking it. Coming into the day, there were a couple stocks I was watching, but none of them um, made the moves pre-market. So we're all trading based off of news. Not really news, but pre-market movers specifically. So these were the trades. Without further ado, I'm just gonna go into the film today, because I think that's going to be more valuable. So I sit down, 6:45 a.m. or so. Um, start the recording. So I kind of, I wish this would be a little easier, but I'll probably just skip through it. So OFAL sitting down, it's our top leading gainer. I check it out. It is basically a bounce off the low as a chart pattern, recent reverse split, no news stock. I think it's a US stock, but it wasn't there yet. So kind of loosely meets the criteria. It's a little bit on the cheaper end. I missed this pullback. I'm watching it here. It's before 7, so I'm thinking maybe we could get a micro pullback here. Kind of not too sure. Because it's been a longer move, I kind of want to wait for a 1-minute pullback. So right here, I'm thinking, oh shoot, I should have taken it there. But ends up not really quite going until that pop, kind of a bounce off the 9 EMA and then a rally up. Missed that one too, and then you get a nice break of that pivot and a squeeze up. So I missed that trade there. Keeps popping up. Now I am aware that we're just a couple minutes from 7, so I want to see a bull flag coming into 7 for the 7 a.m. surge. Get another pullback here on the 10-second, but then once it breaks, I'm thinking, okay, now we for sure need a 1-minute pullback. So it breaks pretty far. So, oh shoot, why is that muted? Okay. Here, let me go right here. So we see the bull flag forming, right? It's on lighter volume, that's nice. We're aware that we only have about a minute to 7. So I'm watching time and sales level 2. I'm finding support. So support is off 220 I see right now. So I'm watching if the bid can, hold 220 and then get some green on the tape. That's what I was looking for on the entry. So you see there, it pops right below 220. Got some green on the tape, so I got in to anticipate. So this was a smaller position. I was thinking about adding on the break for like the proper bull flag. But as you'll see, it just went so fast that I missed it. So now we only have about 30 seconds until the pop. So let's see what happens. I'm still holding it. I'm risking off the 9 EMA here. had kind of not a super loose stop, but around 210. Just because I wanted to give it a little bit of wiggle room because this is essentially just a starter position. So it pulls back a little bit and then bounces off that 9 EMA. Really nice, clean pop, but it went so fast that I just missed the um, extra entry right there. So it ends up topping right around 275. Um, Scale down into it, and then when it showed weakness on the time and sales, a bunch of red, I just sold the rest. One of the things from yesterday that was my biggest error was basically just holding too long and not watching time and sales level 2 to get exit indicators. So I think I did a really nice job on this trade. Yeah, it was a nice trade. Of course, I wish I had added here. That would have made it a lot better. But I just didn't. It just moved so quickly that I didn't. One thing I will say is that CPRO level 2 time and sales is a little bit annoying because it doesn't update every tick. It updates, I think it's like two to four times a second, which is not really too great. So that was this trade. Then we go to around 720 is when we start to get RMCF popping up. So I see it off of the top gainers. I didn't see it down on my scanners because I have them set to, I think, $1.5. I did lower that to $1 and then tighten up a couple of other criteria like percentage change. But yeah, so watching it here, there's this micro pullback here that could have been a nice trade, but I'm mapping out levels here. So I see the 200 EMA is pretty close. So I don't want to really, I don't know, it's hard to navigate. I'm not sure. That's something I'm still working on is the pivots, right? Do you get in at, 160 to anticipate the break if it looks strong? Or do you get in right after it breaks? I'm not sure. Today I got in right after it breaks. Little spoiler alert there. It worked well. It was a nice trade. But yeah, so you get this kind of micro pullback here on the 1 minute chart. Could have been a nice move. Now we're showing some weakness up here. I'm looking for it. I want to see it break and hold. And then, might as well get in for small size. We've seen a lot of these cheaper stocks moving recently, like this week especially. So I don't typically do too well on sub $2 stocks. But I'm trying to learn how to navigate them a little bit. I don't want to trade penny stocks that are sub $1, but I don't mind if it's like $1.50, depending on how the chart looks. I, can widen that a little bit to have some more opportunities. So, watching this, there's lots of seller stacking here, as you could see. Lots of red on the tape. So, still just watching for the break. Just waiting. We're getting a little pullback on the 1 minute chart here. They show strength. It breaks their high day. You see all these sellers on the ask. Pulls it back a little bit. So this is the moment of truth. Will it break? Will it flush? So it ends up breaking. I tried to get in there, got a tiny bit of a high higher fill, but it's hard to see. You could see it on the level 2 and on the tape, but basically my thought process was it breaks, it retests, and then I get in for this next leg up, kind of just like a normal pullback pattern, but for the break of the pivot. So I'm not positive how well they'll work in the long run for like breaks of pivots, but that's how I've understood how to trade them. Um, I typically haven't done too well, but from doing a little bit of research and review, you know, I have assumed that that'll be the best way to do it. So I'll definitely develop my kind of breakout strategy, but it's more of a breakout trade. It's not really a pullback like I am used to. But yeah, so we're gonna watch the time and sales level 2 here, just so I can kind of review. So 171 is the pivot, right? So we're looking for the break on the ask. So if it hits 172 on the ask, sometimes people will get in there. I mean, everybody has a different style, but right. So there's 170. It shows a little bit of weakness off 170. See if it can break. You get some green on the tape, green on the tape. Can we break? Then boom. See, it just jumps from 170 to 182, right? In an instant. So I'm not sure how you'd take the trade for the exact break. It makes more sense to me for it to wait for it to retest and then, rally back up. So that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the bid. So I see the bid drop a little bit and then start to come back up. I'm also looking at the time and sales. And then once it starts rallying back up, I just, take a position. Looking for that squeeze through 2 to 250. You get some resistance there off 238. And I just, think, hey, that was a nice trade. I'm going to take my profit. I don't want to hold this into a loser. That would be not super good. So, got a pretty good entry, all things considered, and a pretty good exit. I cut that from I cut that from 191 to 221, and then I sold again at 214. So 221, 214. So not perfect. I didn't get it all the way up here, but I got it in this area. Got it from down here to right around here. So that was a decent trade. Kind of testing the waters, learning some more ways to trade the momentum. So now we don't really have anything else for the next like hour and a half. PMA pops and drops. This was kind of a similar-ish setup as to what we've been seeing on, OFAL, RMCF, we had JWEL, we had SCKT. They were all cheaper stocks that broke the 200 EMA and kind of got squeezed up. So, thinking maybe this one could do the same, but it didn't hold. It flushes down. So that's why I like to wait for the retest, because you can get in flushes like that. Pretty brutal. Then right here, watching this one, OFAL, just for the break of this pivot. That's something else I'm really trying to learn, is to break the pivot. So it like taps it here and then flushes out. It's hard to know whether it's going to do that or whether it's going to go. It is really, really hard. So just watching this one a little bit. Another one pops up. Light volume, not really doing anything extraordinary. So then if we skip forward quite a bit, BBLG was just too cheap. It wasn't very strong. It wasn't moving quickly. And there wasn't really entries on it. So that one was popping up, but wasn't really watching it. SPRC popping up. A little more expensive than what's been working super well. High spread. Has news. It's an Israel stock, so I don't typically trade well in Israel stocks. And it's definitely not the theme in the market right now. The theme in the market has been China stocks, which today the movers weren't Chinese. So you have to adapt every day, but still. Israel stock, more expensive. Big spread, light volume, kind of choppy. Didn't really want to take any trades on it. BOAS. OFAL. So while I was watching that, it has this clean break of the pivot, breaks this other pivot. So now I'm watching it here, thinking how can I trade this? Right there would have been a nice trade for the pop up, the retest of 250, and then the squeeze back up. I just didn't really pull it up in time to be ready to take that trade. Get a nice squeeze. So these break of pivots can really go. They can really make big moves. So watching it here, it's a bit extended. Made that huge move up. I missed all of that. So I'm having a little bit of FOMO. Now we're just watching it for a micro pullback. Watching it for the break of around 295, risking off 280. Bottom of that pullback. So it gets there, but it's still showing some weakness. Still got lots of sellers on the level too. So now I'm thinking, okay, now I'll take it for the break of 3 because you have this whole stack right here. But once it breaks 3, there's not seller stacking. So now for the break of 3, it pulls back a little hard. Now I'm thinking, okay, we'll probably need a full proper bull flag. We'll need the 90 MA to catch up. So I'm looking for this break. We're gonna get this 1 minute micro pullback. Had lighter selling volume. That's good. It was after a strong move. There's a big topping tail, but it's been hard to gauge how important those are recently because a lot of moves have just, completely disregarded that and not struggled at all. So I take it here, risking off 3, which wasn't the best trade for sure. It was okay. So I saw kind of this pivot here, this $3 mark. We got that rally back up. We held. I was thinking maybe we could get a squeeze up through 3, We have that candle over candle on the 1 minute too. But it just didn't work. I think maybe it was a bit too extended. Also, I mean, you win some, you lose some, it happens. But yeah, overall, I'm not upset with that trade. I did that one mostly off time and shells level 2 as well. So that's good. Improvements I've been making. Um, yeah. So took that trade. It consolidates for quite a while. Now I take it for a dip off the 9 EMA, which is, I'm kind of experimenting with a few different types of entries based on time and sales more so. Um, so really with these kind of entries, I'm thinking, okay, I'll get in here really close to support as a starter position, and then I should add back for the break of, the previous candle, break of 3, that kind of area. But then whenever it doesn't happen, I'm still a small size. So if I take a loss, it's negligible. So yeah, lots of green there on the tape. Still quite a few sellers stacking on the ask. I really want to see it break out, break 3, squeeze up to 350 again. It's kind of fluttering. One thing I find annoying is how this is highlighted, honestly, because I would like to see the number here, not just in my order, but of what, other people have on ask. Find that a little bit annoying. But, oh well. So, then we get the candle over candle in just a second. Marking it there. Over 289. 289, 290. On the ask would be the candle over candle. So there's C287 is struggling. Then rallies back up. There's 290. You get that little bit of a break. It's holding that 290 level. See if we can get a squeeze through 3. So I'm still holding. It's showing some indecision, some fluttering over here. So I scale out a little bit. So now I'm looking for the break of 3. My hypothesis is that if we break 3, we'll get a squeeze back up, 330, 350 near the high day. So we get it up to 332. It's a pretty nice squeeze. But it was so quick and there's a huge topping tail off of it, which makes sense because, we had this previous topping tail here. So once it showed that those big signs of weakness, I just sold out immediately. I definitely could have sold some into this pop up here. I do think I sold this last half of the position a little bit late. Also like I was talking about yesterday, trading with just 2 shares is kind of difficult because you can only scale out twice. If you had 4 shares, then you could sell half, and then have a runner of, a quarter position, which is more like what I would want to do in the future whenever I'm trading with large share size. But, whatever. I could, just increase my hotkeys a little bit, double them. But I also don't know if that's a good idea yet. I want to increase share size soon, but I want to have at least 2 weeks of 2 green weeks where I feel confident that I'm executing well and it's not just luck before I start to size up. And once I do size up, I do plan on sizing up pretty quickly. So I'll probably try to double every, 2 weeks or so. kind of depending on market conditions, market sentiment. But I do really want to trade with more share size um, soon because I think I'm on the right path to profitability. I'm not quite there yet, of course. It's difficult. It's taken a long time, but um, I do think like if I could figure out a way to take twice the size on the setups that have a higher probability of winning and then just half size on the setups that don't. If I could take twice the size on A plus quality setups, but half size on B quality, then my P&L would um, show great success by that. Because those setups would work out more. But right now, I'm trying to build my playbook, see which setups are those ones that work. So here I'm pulling up RMCF. I'm looking for the break of 191. That pivot there. If we break, I'm thinking we could get a squeeze up through 2 up to 250. That's logical. That was the previous high day. So I'm watching it here. For some reason, my level 2 is doing the same thing again, where it's glitching and it's showing the other symbol, which is annoying. But there's not a super easy fix to that I found yet. So if anybody knows, let me know in the comments, but not yet. I'm ready to, I really want to move off of C Pro at some point. But the other options are, do I use Dash Trader, have a whole nother platform running, taking up resources on my computer, and I have to pay like almost $200 a month for it. I don't really think that would be worth it right now. That would make it easier. That would have better level 2 time and sales. And then my other option is move to another platform entirely, like Lightspeed or something like that, which I've definitely considered to be an option once I prove profitable. Because at Lightspeed in the USA, so I get in there looking for the squeeze through. My entry there might have been a little bit early, so I kind of took that more as a breakout trade rather than a retest. I'm in at 195, risking off 190. So I have a pretty tight stop. 189, I see it on the bid, I just sell. So good risk management. That was my last trade of the day. So as I was saying, I could switch to Lightspeed, open up a Roth IRA there, and then not be taxed, especially because I'm pretty young. That could help me build a trading account without having to pay tax on every single gain. So long term, that's what I plan on. But I have to prove profitable first and be able to stomach the commissions. The commissions there aren't absolutely ridiculous from what I've understood, and it's a great platform. And if I'm trading with larger size, kind of the way I trade, kind of that scalping, it would definitely be worth it. But I don't think it's worth it right now. And I don't remember exactly what their level 2 platform costs are, but I know it's higher than C Pro. So yeah, not hating too much on my broker, but there's definitely quite a lot that could be improved. Also, the way I have this set up, once I go back to the main screen, the way I have this set up, it's kind of unfortunate. I can't really resize anything differently than this, like this window. The only thing I use this positions window for is to see if I have open positions out on other tickers, Like right now, say I were to buy something on accident and then switch over to OFAL, I want to see that I have a position open on RMCF, but I have to use this whole window and I can't resize it any less than this. So that's quite unfortunate. In the level 2, while it's okay, like a lot of this data could be just put above it. And then it could be tightened so I could spread out my charts, my scanners more. And then I also just have this box here so that I can do the imports. So the time and sales is really small. So this is the best way I've found to set up the platform. I really don't think that there's really any better trading setup for me right now based on the tools I'm using, but eventually I do plan on stepping away from CPro. Yeah, it's fine. For what it is, it's fine. Non-PDT broker, overseas, you get like 6-to-1 leverage, I think. 10-to-1 if you trade over $2,000, which is extraordinarily risky. So I don't use that. I trade super small size. But yeah, I do want to switch at some point. But right now, I just see big orders and I see, big orders flash green or red. So, it's still usable, you know. I'm not blaming the tools at all. I'm not profitable because my execution and my own psychological issues need improving. But yeah, future plans, switch to Lightspeed at some point. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you stayed green. Let me know what you traded in the comments below. And I will see you guys for the next one tomorrow, day 31. Bye for now. God bless.